Hi, good evening, and happy anniversary to all of us. It is our 115th anniversary. I am calling our general membership meeting to order, and here to read our mission statement is our Secretary-elect, Jessica Allen Schmidt.
Thank you, Madam President. The Junior League of Boston is an organization of women committed to promoting volunteerism, developing the potential of women, and improving communities through the effective action and leadership of trained volunteers. Its purpose is exclusively educational and charitable. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. So hello, for those of you who haven't met me, I am your president, Kathleen Quinlan Riley, and it is my pleasure to see you all tonight and talk to you in your little boxes. Ironically, I'm going to talk to you from my little square on your little square about circles, starting with the Sewing Circles of Boston. In 1904, our founder, Sarah Lawrence, she's up in the corner over there, or Sally, she was known to her friends, had recently graduated from Simmons College School of Social Work. Each student was expected to do some volunteer service. Our friend Sally volunteered at the Lincoln House Settlement in the South End to help care for children and to meet weekly with the mothers. She loved her work there and eventually went on to serve as director for 20 years. In 1905, Sally traveled to New York to visit her sister Julie and met Mary Harriman. Ms. Harriman, a volunteer at the Henry Street Settlement, had recently organized a small group of other volunteers. There were about 10 of them at the time. They had a constitution and bylaws outlining how and why they meant to give their service. They called themselves the Junior League. Sally decided that this was exactly what Boston needed. The Junior League ladies were happy to share their constitution and bylaws with Sally. Upon her return to Boston, she invited the 3 youngest sewing circles to come together for a meeting. That time, there were multiple sewing circles in Boston. The history of the sewing circles dates back to the Civil War, when young women of Boston began sewing bandages for soldiers. After the war, the circles continued and took on new sewing projects for their chosen charities. Sally presented the Constitution and bylaws she'd received in New York, and these 3 sewing circles, and they voted to adopt it and call themselves the Sewing Circle League. We were not known as the Junior League of Boston for about 10 years after that. They began their work in 1906. Throughout the year, we'll be learning more about the history of our illustrious league. I wanted to plant that picture of these 3 circles of women coming together. There were about 150 of them in that first year, 3 circles becoming one. Each year the circle broadened to invite even more women into the circle. 115 years later, our circle includes all of us and all those who came before us. I like to think of us not only as one big circle, but as also a group of smaller circles linking up to form a chain. Each year, its own little circle interconnects with the year before it and after it. All of our councils and committees are circles, as are our executive management team and our board of directors. These circles intersect, forming a solid chain of communication and effective governance. Our new members have their new member groups, which are circles of support. You will all come to know each other, support each other, advise each other. Your leaders will grow and learn as much this year in these circles as you will. I can see out in those squares tonight the members of my first Junior League of Boston circle, my red group friends. I still ask them for help and advice, celebrate their victories, and hope very much we can all get together for another game night, playing a rousing game of salad bowl again soon. You new members are going to meet friends for life and have special memories of your own new member group. We also have social circles inside the league. Whether you're a runner, a bruncher, a knitter, a sewer, a reader, there's a circle for you. We also have circles to support each other through loss, struggles with illness, fertility issues. You're never alone at the Junior League of Boston. Whether you're doing something you love or need support during a difficult time, there's a circle of friends here for you. Can I encourage you to widen the circles you are in or join another one? Your placement is one circle, but there are opportunities to participate in our focus issue, research, advocacy work, and our DEI efforts, just to name a few. These are open to all members, new members, active members, and sustainer members. Circles also describes how we work with each other. While we do have an organizational chart, the chart is better understood as an actual circle. From that first meeting of the 3 sewing circles, our founder offered the Constitution and bylaws and asked who'd like to join. As the league grew, members were able to offer suggestions and changes. That original Constitution and bylaws evolved into our bylaws and handbook. These are living documents that change in order to accommodate the needs of the women in our league and our community. Members make their needs known to leadership. Leadership investigates how best to meet those needs and offers a plan. Sometimes it's a change in a handbook or bylaws. When a bylaws change is necessary, the final approval is yours, our general membership. This circular conversation has allowed us to make changes like our governance structure changed a couple years ago and maintain some of the structures that we've valued from the very start, such as our very thorough training program and our community service. Recently, I was listening to Gloria Steinem being interviewed on a podcast. What she said rang true for me. It was so much like how we operate here at the Junior League of Boston. She was talking about the 2 years she spent in India studying, working, and writing. There, she absorbed Mahatma Gandhi's organizing principles, which she would later apply to American feminism. Change comes from the bottom up, not the top down. To learn, you must listen. To be heard, you must speak. And to bring change against all odds, you must fight it as if it matters. In her work, she learned about talking circles. When she and the group she was working with came to a new village, they would sit with the villagers and tell them who they were and ask them to share their stories. What did they eat? Who were their leaders? What do they like about the village and what would they like to change? She said, if you want people to listen, you have to listen to them. The circle is important. It's not just one person lecturing to another. No one voice is more valuable than any other. We can see each other's faces, read each other's feelings and reactions. It is not presenter and receiver. It is a shared experience where each person in the circle has a voice to share and something to be learned from the other participants. Our most recent circular conversation was one concerning our focus issue. For a little over a decade, our focus has been the health and wellness of girls. Last year, we surveyed our general membership to see if we wanted to continue that focus or what issue or if we'd like to explore other issues. We began by asking our community partners and other organizations in the community, what were the most pressing issues for our greater Boston community? We selected issues from that list that we had the competencies to help with that would also give our members meaningful opportunities to learn and build leadership skills. For example, we don't have the competency to fix the transportation issues, but we might be able to assist with issues like literacy, food insecurity, and voting rights. We presented that list to our members, and our members selected the areas where our skills aligned with the needs of the Boston community. We had focus groups for those who wanted to get more involved. The strategic research and analysis team led our process and presented its findings last year. Our members decided that our new focus would be the economic empowerment of women. Last year, we saw how the global pandemic forced job loss on over 5 million American women. Some women's jobs were eliminated as businesses were shuttered. Many of those who lost jobs were working mothers who had to leave their jobs when schools and daycares closed. Prior to the pandemic, we women were already suffering from a gender pay gap. We were making less money than our male counterparts. When push came to shove, some families had to decide who would continue to work at a career and who would step back from career life and manage the family and children. It is no surprise that most often moms were making less than dads, and they were the ones to pull back completely or significantly reduce their hours. In fact, according to analysis from the Women's Law Center in 2019, women outnumbered men in the US workforce, but accounted for 100% of the jobs lost in December of 2020. The loss of a spouse, either through divorce or death, would lead these women and their children to very vulnerable situations, to food and housing insecurity, and not to mention a likely loss of health insurance. Worldwide experience shows us that supporting a stronger role for women contributes to economic growth. It improves child survival and overall family health. It reduces fertility, thus helping to slow the population growth rates. In short, investing in women is central to sustainable development. For our new members who didn't participate in the early days of this choice, this talk circle is continuing this year and you can be a part of it. Active and sustainer members, you can continue the effort we began together last year. The Strategic Research and Analysis Committee is looking for league members to reach out to organizations who are working in some way toward the economic empowerment of women. If you are working with such an organization, we would love an introduction to see what kind of circle talk we can have with that organization. If you don't have an affiliation with such an organization, but would be willing to do some outreach, we would love your help. Never done this kind of work before? Great, that is exactly what you're here for. To try new things, get support from friends, and improve our communities as a result. In this special year that we celebrate our 115th anniversary, and we are starting that 115th circle right now. We've spent the last year and a half learning how to do much of our work in different ways. We've figured out how to do in-person events more safely. In fact, our headquarters building, where I am right now, will be reopening in October 3 days a week for meetings. All attendees will be asked to be masked for indoor meetings for the time being, with the hope that infection numbers will decrease and we can soon invite vaccinated members to participate without a mask. We will, however, continue to follow health guidelines for the city, the Commonwealth, and the nation. We learned that we all have different comfort with safety and risk. Any in-person opportunity we offer, we will offer a same or virtual option. For example, if we have a trainer in the training room, we will enable members to either virtually attend at home at the same time or by watching a recording after the fact. If there's a social event like a Super Bowl watch party, we'll offer a similar party in a virtual format. I spoke with you all last year about our inability to hold fundraising events, and the loss of our rental tenant put a strain on us financially. We are coming out of last year, a year that we spent more than we took in, with plans to get fiscally fit again. Our fundraising team is looking to be creative in offering virtual events like last year's gala and smaller in-person events that will allow us to be safe while meeting in person. You'll hear a little bit more about these later. We are also in the final stages of signing a lease with a new tenant that will restore the stream of revenue as well. With some careful financial planning and prudent spending, Marissa will tell you more about that next, we managed to stay afloat for this difficult time and are well poised for getting our budget back in the black soon. We will be continuing our efforts in diversity, equity, and inclusion. We hope to continue the League Reads. For those who are new members, this was a program where we all read a book together, alternating between fiction and nonfiction, with the intent of learning more about experiences that might be different from our own. Last year, we focused predominantly on the inherent racism in our country and its effects. There certainly is a lot to be learned. We'll be creating a collection of resources for members, including the books that we read last year. If you have a particularly good resource, please let us know, or better yet, donate a copy to the League. Our community service, training, and advocacy work will also continue. Much of it will remain virtual, but there will be in-person opportunities coming available soon. Elizabeth will be telling you a bit more about these in her remarks. You'll also be learning about the Solution Summit and the Board Seat Initiative, each of them an opportunity for circular conversations with like-minded organizations in the greater Boston area. For 115 years, the Junior League of Boston has not only trained community leaders for effective action, we have brought together other organizations, providing a forum for sharing ideas and resources. Our beloved league has survived world wars, the Great Depression, the Great Recession, and now its second global pandemic. We survive and thrive because we are an organization of very competent and very committed volunteers. In celebration of our 115th anniversary, I am setting a goal for us to raise $115,000 in direct donations this year. You are all fundraisers for this organization. You are all donors to this organization. Thank you. If you have room in your budget to be a little more generous this year, it would be greatly appreciated. If you aren't in a position to give a little more this year, could you maybe ask a family or friend to give a gift to your league in order to support your efforts? Does your company match charitable donations? We'll help you fill in those forms. Whether you can donate $50 or $50,000, we are so grateful for your gift. as will be the women who follow us, linking their circles to ours and continuing the legacy of the Junior League of Boston. Thank you so much for attending this evening. I am so grateful to be with you all, and I'm so grateful that you've stuck it through with us through our tough year, and I'm looking forward to a wonderful year ahead. I am now going to introduce Marissa Roman, who is our treasurer, and she's going to give us a little more information about our fiscal fitness. Marissa?
Hello, can everyone hear me? Please nod if you can. Great. Kathleen, I was so excited when you were talking about finances, and I was like, oh my God, Kathleen's going to present for me. This is great. I'm fantastic. I should just log off right now. Alas, I am not so lucky. Okay, so I'm going to see. I'm going to be sharing the slides that I have. Share screen. Can everyone see my slides right now? No? Okay. I don't know what happened there.
You can see them now.
You can see them now? Perfect. Okay. So there's a little bit of a glitch right there. So right now, what we are looking at, so for starters, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to the Finance Council for this year, who did a really great job in not only helping me put these slides together, but making the corrections and make it look as nice and neat as it is presented right now. So the slide that I'm showing everyone is a little bit of a repeat of what was shown during the GMM in the spring. It is basically an overview of this year's budget. As you can see, in terms of our income, we are anticipating having most of our revenue come in this year from development and membership. Operations, which is basically the administrative costs that we use to, keep headquarters running. Some of our income comes in from that as well, but mostly it's development and membership. That's a combination of dues and our fundraising activities. On the other hand, our biggest category of expenses is operations, which is the cost of maintaining our headquarters and making sure that we are able to pay for all the internet that supplies us when we have these great virtual meetings. And then on the flip side of that, for this year, expenses, we're only projecting about 9% and 7% of our total budgets for development and membership. So
Marissa, I'm sorry,
Yes.
it's Tracy. I don't think you're sharing anymore.
did it disappear?
I can still see it.
I can still see it.
Okay, sorry, Marissa, then it's just me.
Okay, no problem. So with this, you will be able to see the total income versus our total expenses is that we are going to be operating at a net loss this year. This isn't something to be concerned about. We are a nonprofit and we are able to stay afloat by a whole host of means. So as a nonprofit, a sophisticated nonprofit that we are, that has been around for, as Kathleen said, 115 years, we do have plenty of other resources, including significant investment accounts, including an endowment that we are, per our bylaws, able to tap into when we are getting a little bit lean in terms of our finances. We elected to take that this year because we did not have a retail tenant and because we weren't having any in-person activities last year. So that was a really good cash influx that we got at the end of last year that is going to help us for this fiscal year. And it will remain to be determined whether or not we're going to take that option at the end of this year. So where does my money go? You may be asking yourself as a member, when I have to pay dues, how does it get broken down? And this slide that my predecessor treasurers put together is a really good explanation to kind of for everyone to be able to see the breakdown of where the money goes. And you can see it's just over a little bit of $1,100 per cost per member. And the active member financial commitments are $290 as dues as an active member. Fundraising, there's $100 C&T plus the $1 for annual fund. So that's a $391 total commitment per active member. So the expenses per member not covered by active dues and the minimum fundraising commitment is about $773. So getting back to where Kathleen was saying before, this is where that $773 is what we are looking to our members to make up in a whole host of different fundraising opportunities that I will get towards the end of my next slide. And it's not always just about asking for corporate sponsorships. There are other ways that you can make up this difference. So in looking at our fiscal year trends, this is a breakdown from the last 4 fiscal years. As you can see in FY18, that was a year that the net income that we had was just about 160,000. That was a year that we had a whole host of successful in-person fund development events. In FY19, we fell a little bit short of expectations. And then in FY20, we had some great stuff planned, and then everything turned around in March of 2020. And in looking at last year's actual, you may be looking at, how did we come across with $186,000 in profit? This seems very interesting when we're talking about how much that we have been kind of in a little bit of a tenuous financial position. And this 186,000 figure is a little bit of a misnomer because part of that is the $215,000 in unrealized gains that we had due to the huge market fluctuations. A lot of us recall March of 2020 being a very scary time, but it was a very scary time for a lot of our investment accounts and our wallets. So that 215,000 in unrealized gains is a result of the sinusoidal effects of the market that took place just when the coronavirus was beginning to turn into the global pandemic it is right now. So if you subtract our unrealized gains followed by the depreciation on our real estate of headquarters and the dividend income that we received, our income for last year was just about negative $190,000. So the projection that we have for this year, negative $223,000, is a little bit lower than what we have projected from the actuals of last year. Again, this is just a projection. It is not an actual figure. We won't be able to have the actuals until we'll have a rough idea of what they will be at the spring GMM before we close out the year. But again, this is just an estimate, and there are a lot of different ways that we can make sure that we are not hitting that negative number, or if we are hitting that negative number, a little less of a scary one. So these are some ways that we can hopefully make that negative number a little bit less scary. As I said before, $773 expenses per member are not covered by the active dues. So opportunities to bridge this gap, there are the corporate sponsorships, corporate matching, and in-kind donations that everyone is familiar with. One possibility that not all members may be familiar with is Amazon Smile. This is a program that if you go to Amazon.com, I believe it's smile.amazon.com, you can select the Junior League of Boston as a charity, and the Junior League will take a cut of whatever you spend on Amazon, and that money will come back to the league. It is just one small footprint that we are able to kind of turn into some extra cash for the Junior League, and I'm certain that a lot of us in the greater Boston area make use of Amazon. My fiance likes to joke that I am kind of Amazon's biggest customer. So I'm hopeful that my frequent use of Amazon has gone back and helped the Junior League in some way. Giving Tuesday, a lot of us are familiar with Giving Tuesday. It is the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. In the past, the Junior League of Boston has utilized Facebook giving as a way to have campaigns and make it easier for people to be able to donate to the league. We are looking forward to having a similar successful Giving Tuesday event this year. And grants. This is an area of the league that we have really tried to turn our focus to, especially in the process of kind of the changes that we are making around some of our focuses. So if you know of if you work for a company that has a corporate giving department or has a specific grant that you think the Junior League of Boston would be a good fit for, please let us know. I am always available via email, and my elect Ashley, my email is treasurer@JLBoston, her email is treasurer-elect@JLBoston. We're always ready, willing, and able to listen to your ideas. So that's all I have. I'm going to turn the presentation over to Elizabeth Zeminski, who's going to talk about the executive management team's plan for this year. But if you have any questions or want to discuss this more in depth, I know numbers can be a little scary, but also can be it's not everyone's forte. I'm again available via email, so don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you, Marissa. I'm Elizabeth Zeminski. I'm the Executive Vice President of the Junior League, and I'm going to try to share my screen now. See if I can do this successfully. Can people see my screen? Can you nod if you can? Great. So before I start going on Kathleen's theme of circles, I think we have to go back in the circle and make sure that we say thank you to Kathleen and her predecessor, Michelle Lentz, who's the president before, to the entire board, the entire executive management team, who I don't think people realize did everything virtually last year. Headquarters was closed, and guess what? We survived, folks. As Marissa just showed, we had numbers, thank goodness for the market, but we are 115 years old right now. We look great, and we are going to look fabulous, and we're going to do well moving ahead. So I want to share with you who our team is and what we're working on. Now, as Marissa said, Kathleen gave away some of those things, so it's great. We'll make up some time here. We are, as the executive management team, people often ask, well, what's the board do and what does the executive management team do? And as EVP, I get to serve on both of them. But the board is looking at things strategically. The executive management team is responsible for the day-to-day activity of the league. We oversee the operational councils. And I have to say, it's actually the VPs who do all the work. For community, we have the VP, Emily White. For membership, we have Courtney Scrubs. For training, Samantha Sukumnuf. For placement, Amanda Alonso. And for development and fundraising, Miriam Stevens. We also have diversity, equity, inclusions, and we have the communications. And again, what's interesting in this circle is I've not had the pleasure to meet these people, most of them in person yet, but I've already had conversations. We've had our meeting, and thank goodness for Zoom. Starting with membership, I have to say welcome to the 82 plus new members. I hear most of you are on the GMM today. And thank you to Kimberly Wells, who's doing a great job with the new member class. Kathleen and I were privileged last week to welcome the members, and they got to break out into their groups and form their circles. But I want everyone to know, all of us who love the Junior League of Boston, the new members, active members, sustainers, we're still taking applications through September 30th, 2021. I also want to thank and welcome all the transfers. Some of you may be transferring back to Boston. Some of you may be new to Boston. As a lifelong Massachusetts resident and a diehard Boston fan, if there's anything you'd like to know about how great our city is, please reach out and talk to me. For our sustainers, Angela Williams this year is doing a great job and has formed a dynamic sustainer committee. They're going to be a resource for all sustainers. And sustainers who are members who have given at least 7 active years to the league. We have sustainers who have been in the league for many years. We have sustainers who are brand new. And Angela has formed a great committee this year of both new and more seasoned sustainers. We'll have our active advisors, and part of membership is the great social events that we have that are there just to have fun and get to meet one another. People join for a lot of different reasons for the Junior League. And sometimes one of the great things are those friendships that Kathleen talked about. I can tell you the reason that I stay in the league all the years that I have is because of the connections and the people and the support I've gotten from Junior League of Boston members. And then of course we have the circles that Kathleen already talked about. So please go to the website and see all the circles that we have. Community, the heart of the Junior League of Boston, improving the communities. They're doing an amazing job this year, working with our community partners, and they're going to offer both in-person and virtual activities. Several of our community partners are in the position that they'd like us to come and work in person, and they're going to be able to offer. So those of you who feel comfortable going in person will have things for you to do, and those of you who do not feel comfortable, don't worry, there's still lots for you to do. We have a new project launching this year, the College Application and Advanced Achievement Mentorship Program. And last year we had a kickoff of our Women for Women, say that 4 times fast. It's a public drive collecting necessities to support women in our community. But this is both done with community development, communications, we're all doing this. It's a tie to the excellent work that we're doing on advocacy, and it's a great opportunity to increase exposure of Junior League of Boston to non-members. But this year we're going to do it in the spring, so you can start thinking ahead of getting all these necessities we have. Fundraising. We often say you hear things once, you hear it twice, you're going to hear it 3 times. How important. The overall theme this year is to bring in more members and non-members to event. Ensure our events are accessible and profitable for the Junior League of Boston. Make sure that our events are worth our investment of time and resource. And we are still going to work to navigate in the post-COVID, or I guess when we said this, we were hoping we'd be fully post-COVID. We know we're still in COVID, so we're working to do in this environment both safely and productively. So we're asking for a little bit more patience. Things that we thought we could go fully live with now, we're still working out some of the details, but I am happy to tell you that unless something changes, our signature event team is already working, and après-ski will return. We'll be working, we'll have our cooking classes again and other signature events. We have our sponsorships, which really are what we're looking at, is to do sponsorships for overall, for the entire league, sponsor the Junior League of Boston rather than events. I'm very excited for the Junior League of Boston branded items. This will be the year you'll be able to order Junior League of Boston branded items. And the gala. As a past gala chair, I can say this is one of the great events where you help and support and fundraise. The plan is that we are going to come back together in spring this year, but I have to say that Miriam's doing a great job, and we're going to go with a lower price ticket to ensure that we can have this accessible to all of our members and to invite your guests. And we hope to kick off our Bloom Bazaar this year. Unfortunately, COVID has pushed this off a little bit for us, but what better way to start in 115th year? Our amazing training team does a wide variety of trainings. They truly assist all of our Junior League members with the tools they need to make the better community here in Boston. So they've already got trainings going. In the winter, our Salon series will be returning. And this is the year our board seat initiative is launching. This will increase women's leadership on nonprofit boards, allowing you to learn more about serving on a nonprofit board. And I'm not going to give away the details, but Samantha's going to tell you about the Solution Summit that's happening this fall. For placement, we successfully used the new placement tool. Amanda, in about 30 seconds, is going to tell you how great the placement process went. And the DEI, please stay tuned for the League Reads and other initiatives and trainings, because diversity and equity and inclusion is very important to the Junior League of Boston. We want all members to feel welcome and included in the activities that we have going on. I'm so pleased to present, who's done a lot of work with our placement-elect, to Amanda Alonso, who is the Vice President of Placement.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Hi, everyone. It's nice to see so many faces out there. And I appreciate Elizabeth mentioning my VP-elect, Sarah Monago, who has been just an amazing resource. She will make the best VP of placement next year, and I am so excited to get to work with her. And also on my committee is Colleen, who was the VP last year. So I think we've got a little bit of a dream team, and I'm hoping that we're going to make some great progress this year. As Elizabeth mentioned, we did successfully use the tool, and this is kind of our second pass. The first time we had a lot of help from AJLI, and this time we struggled through on our own a bit more, but with each iteration, it should get a little bit more streamlined and better. However, the placements did successfully go out back in August. So if you did not get an email and you were expecting one, I would check your spam folder or just reach out to us and we'll get that information to you. As far as the stats go, approximately 85% of people did get their first or second choice, and that is basically our target. And 100% of people who went through the tool did get their first, second, or third choice. Typically, that's, the math should work out so that you should get one of your three choices no matter what. But to, be able to get your first or second is a pretty high success rate, and we're pretty happy with that. And Sarah did an incredible job, making sure that we hit the minimums required for most placements and fit within the maximums too. We do still have approximately 10 leadership positions that are as of yet unfilled. So if you would love to step up, we would love to have you. I believe we still need a DEI chair, an advocacy committee lead, somebody for comms and tech, Learning Circles Blue Hills, a community council grants chair, and I think there's several fund development options out there. So you don't need any prior experience. We will train as we do, and we would love to have people. Just as a plug, I would never be discouraged because you aren't sure what it's going to be like, or you're afraid that it's a lot of work. In all of my experience in the league, I've always found that you get more out of it than you put in, whatever that is, and that there's really no limit on that. So I think those actually were all of our notes. We will continue to place new members as they come through and transfers, but and also your chair should be reaching out to you about meeting schedules, what the cadence will be going forward, and that sort of information. So with that, I will hand you off to the VP of Training, Samantha Sukumnuth, and she will talk about the Solution Summit. Thank you all.
Thank you, Amanda. All right, let me see. I'm going to share my screen. All right, you all see the screen? Yep, okay, great. So welcome everyone. My name is Samantha and I'm the VP of Training for this Junior League year. And kind of like Kathleen and Elizabeth had already touched a little bit on our theme for our Solution Summit. We're bringing it back this year and in the fall. So for this year's Solution Summit, the purpose of the Solution Summit itself is an opportunity for league members and women within the community to discuss issues that are facing the Commonwealth, and then identify some of these issues, and then hopefully come up with some initiatives that we can take action on going forward. So the theme for this year's Solution Summit is women's economic empowerment. And I think it's a pretty broad topic that we can cover a lot of key issues through. And some of those topics that we would be discussing during the Solution Summit, including the gender pay gap, food insecurity, sex trafficking, women entrepreneurs, childcare and the workforce, both pre and post COVID, and reestablishing financial independence post-pandemic. So the date for our Solution Summit is going to be Saturday, November 13th, from 9 to 1 at Junior League headquarters. And we're going to open registration October 18th, but just wanted to let you all know and have that as a placeholder in your calendar for when that time comes. Yeah, and if there are any additional questions about the Solution Summit, feel free to email me at training@jailboston.org. Yeah, with that, I'm going to pass it on to our Director of Nominating and stop sharing my screen. to Zara Marie Spooner next.
Right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Samantha, for that intro. I'm going to share my screen with you all. Great. Hopefully you can see it, or someone will tell me if you can't. Okay, great. Thank you. Well, it is really my pleasure to be here with you all virtually to discuss slated leadership opportunities. And so we've already heard their appointed leadership opportunities, but I want to talk with you all about kind of slated leadership opportunities. One thing that always stands out to me is when you speak to leaders in our organization, one consistent theme is a passion to serve our membership and our mission in our organization. And as a nominating council, our role is to discover talent, skill, passion, and dedication for the league and align those skills to select leadership teams that can move our organization forward. And it's incredibly exciting work for us. And we need you to participate so that we can continue to sustain our legacy for another 115 years and beyond. Some important things to know about the nominating process is that other members can nominate other qualified leaders, but you do not have to be nominated to apply. And this is really important. So if you're just even interested in the process, please reach out and just start to have a conversation. We're happy to just chat with people who just even want to learn more about the process. And it's also a holistic process. So you don't apply to a specific role. You can, in your application, you share potential roles that you might be interested in. And we have the exciting opportunity to think about aligning talent and skills, as well as areas in which a member is seeking to grow, and think about how does that help, how can we leverage all of our talents and skills and areas of growth to have these really forward-thinking leadership teams. It's also important to note that the entire process is confidential. So no one will know that you're going through the nominating process. And so that's really important because we want to make sure everyone feels like they can, try a new thing and put themselves out there. And so the confidentiality helps that, hopefully makes the process a little bit more open for folks to apply. And then also really important to note as well is that one of our real differentiators, I think, as an organization that has come up tonight is that you don't necessarily have to have all the specific skills to be in a role. Most of these roles have elect years, and through that year, that's where you get training. So don't hesitate to put your name in, because that's one of the things that makes us different as an organization, is that we do train volunteers, and it's so important that we do have people who are willing to step up and go for their process. So after one submits an application, we interview applicants and think about that holistic matching process. And we hope to have a slate to present to recommend to membership in early March. So you might be asking who can apply, which is my next slide. So in thinking about who can apply, any active 2, or sustainer member in good standing may submit a leadership application to nominating, and the leadership position descriptions are available on the form and resources section in our JL Boston portal. And so that kind of gives you a sense of, kind of responsibilities for each role, time commitment, that type of thing. If you can't find the document, just let me know. You could email me and I can point you to the right place. And important to note, especially for those of us who might be sustainer members, most positions require a member to return to active status for the service period. So these are the positions slated by nominating. The asterisk denotes the roles that a sustainer member can be slated for. And then kind of what the exciting year that we have ahead of us, we will be opening up applications and nominations in October. So you can start even today, if you want, reaching out and expressing interest in, even if it's just to have a conversation with someone in nominating council about what the process is like. And so our goal is to, between December and February, interview candidates, and then to start doing our match-in process with the goal of announcing a slate in early March and making a recommendation to membership for a vote at our closing GMM. So really important, the best way to get in touch with us, it's really easy to remember. We're available at bealeader@jailboston.org. And we're so excited to jump into this role with you all. I am going to stop sharing my screen so I can see people's faces, but we're really excited to kick off this year with nominating, and I will now pass things off to our esteemed president, Kathleen, and Avery to talk around the AGLI statement that we'll be discussing tonight.
Thank you so much, Zara. I encourage everybody to apply or contact nominating just to even learn a little bit more about it. It's such a wonderful opportunity. And one of the things that we learned last year is that men will very often volunteer for leadership roles, and women sometimes need to be asked as many as 7 times. So Zara asked you already, I'm asking you again. And times 7. So please do consider putting your name in, or at least making a phone call out to nominating. All right, so our next item, if Katie, if you could put the slide deck up, I'm gonna be co-presenting this with Avery Russell, who is a board member at large. And we're gonna be talking about the AGLI's proposed mission statement change. There we go. So this is the title that was given by AGLI is the North Star, our mission and vision. So we're going to be talking about our mission statement. Our goals for this evening are transparency. As a member of the AGLI, which is the Association of Junior Leagues International, they're our governing body. Every member should be informed about fundamental discussions like this one. Training, each member should understand how her membership matters to both the Junior League of Boston and the Association of Junior Leagues International. And voice, you're a valued member of both our smaller community, our smaller circle, and the larger circle of AGLI. This is your chance to speak up and let your voice be heard. So as we're going into this, one of the things that when we're talking about our mission statement is our mission statement is our why. Why are we here? Why did we join? And the mission statement is one of the things that brings us when we talk about what is the Junior League of Boston. Why did you join? What about the mission statement? And that was the one that Jessica read at the beginning of the meeting tonight, aligns with your personal values. How do you describe your alignment with the Junior League of Boston? What about the Junior League of Boston is distinct from other volunteer organizations? A good mission statement is going to draw in and make sure that all of those whys are answered. We can go to the next slide. So, if we can flip back one, there we go, perfect. So our current mission, as Jessica read earlier, and this is an Association of Junior Leagues International, because every junior league has the same mission, is an organization of women committed to promoting volunteerism, developing the potential of women, and improving communities through the effective action and leadership of trained volunteers. Its purpose is exclusively educational and charitable. It tells us who we are, what we do, and why we do it. Next slide, please. So the 2019 advisory resolution, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about what an advisory resolution is in just a second, was to review and consider revising the current AGLI mission statement to better emphasize the leadership potential of women. So when we think about with the order that those things were put in, promoting volunteerism is first, the discussion talked about maybe we reorganize the way that we're talking about that and really focus on the thing that makes us distinct from other organizations, which is that we're a women's leadership organization. And part of the way that we train is through volunteerism, but really kind of focusing on the leadership potential of women is what really makes us who we are. Next slide, please. So the advisory resolution at the annual conference, which is essentially like a GMM, but for all the AJLI. So all the presidents of all the different leagues come forward. And those are our delegates, the presidents of the junior leagues put forth an advisory resolution, which is an action the delegates are requesting from AJLI. So a president or group of presidents puts forward the resolution. It's debated on the floor. It looks very much like if you're watching a bill being introduced and voted on in a Congress kind of setting. There's that people ask questions, their answers. Everybody's timed and recognized, and it's very, very, there's a whole lot of participation, and every league is invited to participate in it. Next. So here's the new proposed mission: connecting women, cultivating leadership, and collaborating with communities for meaningful impact. So I'm going to have us go into our co-presenter, Avery, is going to talk to you a little bit about what we're going to do in our breakout groups. Avery, take it over.
Great. So my name is Avery Russell. First and foremost, beyond chuffed to be here. Can't believe met the GMM, seeing all your gorgeous faces. What a wonderful night. So we're going to be going into breakout rooms soon with the discussion of the proposed mission statement we've just given right now. It's a really great way to understand our connection to our parent organization, AJLI, and really kind of give your input and figure out if this works for us. So I am so excited to speak these things through to you and send us into breakout rooms. So we'll be discussing what we just spoke about. So these are the questions we'll be going through. Does it describe what we do, who we do it for, and how we do it? Does the statement reflect your why? Is it clear and easy to understand? Does this resonate with you? Finally, is this a good tool for making the ask? So I'm hoping for our breakout rooms that you are engaged and excited just as much as I am to be here. And please stick around through the entire breakout room and come back after the session. And we'll continue our GMM and then adjourn when Kathleen says it's time. So we're going to send you into the rooms. Please get ready to discuss everything we just talked about, and let's go.
Just reminding us that this is being recorded. So the breakout rooms apparently I think they didn't get recorded, other than the fact that all of our facilitators were taking notes, and will be, if facilitators, just as a reminder, just email me whatever notes you took so that I can bring that forward in the delegates dialogue. Katie and Shannon, could we bring those, the slide up of the what happens next? So we're collecting all the information that we just got from the breakout rooms, and thank you for participating in the breakout rooms and coming back at the end. I know sometimes when there's the breakout sessions, people kind of use that as a time to use the ladies' room, or just abandon ship altogether. So we are taking notes about the conversations to report back to AJLI. So based on our feedback and AJLI's around the world and other junior leagues around the world's commentary, the proposed mission statement will either move forward for a vote or be edited and or reconsidered. So I'm actually in a meeting I think they offered 7 different evenings to join into a delegates dialogue. So I'll be, mine is tomorrow evening. I requested that one because I wanted to make sure I was able to get information and feedback from you all before I spoke, because I didn't want it to be just my personal thoughts, but I wanted to be able to give feedback from, it was presented to the board, it was presented to the executive management team, and I wanted to make sure that our general membership, again, it's a circle of conversation and no one person's voice is any more important than anyone else's. I am your representative, I'm not your mouthpiece. Like, I'm not out there to, I'm just say my own ideas and opinions. I want to be representing you. So that's, if we can just go to the next slide, which I think is our adjournment. So thank you all for participating this evening. Thank you for all of your thoughtful feedback. And I really look forward to seeing you all very soon. And I am calling this meeting adjourned at 7:42 p.m. Thank you and have a great night.
Thank you.